Hi everybody and welcome in this CodeRage 9 session. My name is Thierry Laborde. I'm the sales manager for France at Embarcadero. And today I want to present you how you can manage touchscreen with Delphi on all the different platforms. But let's take a look at the agenda to start. When we are speaking about touch, there is different kind of touch. There is the single touch, only one finger, okay? But we will see that it could be something else than the finger, maybe for example a stylus. We can have also single touch gesture. We use it all the time on our phone and tablet all the day. There is also multi-touch gesture, like rotate, like spread and something like this, with 2 points of contact and not only one. And more generally, we will see at the end the multi-touch management, how we can manage a lot of contact on the touchscreen. But let's start with the first part, single touch. As I said, when we speak about single touch, we are speaking about one contact. So generally one finger on the touchscreen, but it could be also a stylus, a pen. But just be careful, the stylus gesture on Delphi is only for Windows and more especially for tablet PC. This part is also for the SS Pen and for the stylus only on VCL application. Okay, so to manage single touch, the more simply is to use the event on mouse down. When we take a look at the event, we can see that we have one parameter, shift, and we can have information if the touch is only a click of the mouse, or if it's a touch with a finger, or if it's a pen or a stylus. But another time, for the stylus, it's only with VCL application on Windows and with a tablet PC. But let's go on Delphi and see how we can manage this. Let's start with the VCL project. I save it. Okay. I put a label on my form. Align it in client. Just change the size of the font. And remove the caption. Okay. As I said, we are speaking about single touch, one point of contact, one finger, or could be a stylus. You know certainly the on mouse down event. Of course, I can use the on click event, but I have more information in mouse down event. And there is one parameter which interests me, is the shift parameter, T-shift state. I think you know it, of course, because you can use it to manage if you press the Control or Alt or Shift key. But it's also interesting because you have some touch information. If you take a look at the T-shift state, you can see that you have as kind of parameter SS touch or SS pen. You can know the difference if you click with the touch, a finger, or with a pen. Of course, as I said, for the pen, it's only on Windows, and it's only with a Windows which manage a tablet PC, so with a device which is a tablet PC with a stylus. You cannot use the SS Pen information. Of course, we are in VCL application, so it's It seems to be normal. You cannot use the SS Pen for the stylus or on an iPad, for example, or something like this. Okay. Okay, so if I do this, and of course, if it's not pen, SS Pen or SS Touch, it's a click with the mouse. I can test also because, in the test shift state, I can test if it's the left button of the mouse or middle or right button. But in this case, which interested me, it's just to know if it's a mouse or something else. Okay, as I said, to test for the pen, the SS Pen, I need to have a tablet PC. So in the case, I have a tablet PC with a Windows 8 installed. So I'm connect with my PA server to the Windows 8 and tablet PC. And let's launch this application. So here is my application on my tablet PC on Windows. If I touch with my finger, I can see that it's a touch. If I do the same with the stylus, I can see that it's a pen. And of course, if I click with my mouse, I can see that it's a mouse. Okay? So we can detect the difference and see if it's a finger, if it's a stylus, or if it's a mouse. So just to remember, for the SS Pen, it's only on Windows and in VCL application, because you have the same event in the FireMonkey, okay, but the SS Pen is not detected in the FireMonkey application. Let's do a simple test with the FireMonkey application. Of course, we have the same kind of event. Can put a label. Okay, and on my form event, because as you know, in FireMonkey, the label have a hit test to false, so I can catch the mouse event and other event directly on the form. I have an on mouse down event. The test shift state exists also with the shift parameter. And if I do the same thing, just change it because it's not caption but text. I can choose, for example, my iPad, which is connected here. And if I launch the application, so here is my application on my iPad, and you can see that when I touch with my finger, it's the SS Touch, which is detected. Okay, so you can use it on the mobile application on iOS or Android, on tablet or different phone. So that's the first manner to manage single touch, one point of contact. We see that we can use a finger, of course, but also on Windows and tablet PC, only in VCL application, we can use the SS Pen. So let's go now to the single touch gesture. So after the single touch part, let's speak about the single touch gesture. We are speaking in this case about gesture with only one point of contact, one finger only, not multi-touch gesture, okay? So single touch gestures, there is a long list of standard gestures that we can use in our application. So in this case, we are of course speaking about Windows, but also OS X, iOS, and Android. We can use it on FireMonkey and in VCL application, but there is something specific to VCL application. In VCL application, we have also the possibility to create your own gesture, okay, but only in VCL application. So let's go on Delphi to see how it works. Okay, so let's speak about single touch gesture now. So for this, I start with the FireMonkey application. And if I look at the components, I can find a gesture manager, which is a component which can manage gesture on all the different FireMonkey applications. And of course, it's available on all the different platforms, Windows, iOS, Android, and OS X. Gesture manager is working with action, so I need an action list. And let's take, for example, a rectangle. Okay. On my form, but also on all the different kind of visible components, I have a touch property. If I look, I can link it to my gesture manager, okay? After I have gesture and standard. In standard, I found a long list of standard gesture. So I just need to check my gesture, and after here I can create a new action or use a standard action. I choose to create a new action. So I found now in my action list my action which have an event on execute. Okay. So here I just said on my form I link the left gesture with action 1, and in action right I do a show message. Let me execute my application on my iPad. I will save first my project. Okay. So here is my application on my iPad, and you can see that if I do my gesture, my left gesture, I have my show message. Okay. What is interesting is if I do the same gesture on my rectangle, I see that I have also the show message. Why? Because when you do a gesture, Delphi check if the gesture is linked to an action on this component, it executes the action. If it's not the case, it goes on the parent and so on. So like this, you can put the event on the form. It's especially important and interesting in mobile application, and put all the components that you want on your form, and you can do the gesture where you want. There is no problem, as the gesture will be detected on the form and not on all the different components. Of course, as I said, my gesture is also working on any kind of platform. So if I choose my Nexus 4, for example, okay, so here is the application on my Google Nexus 4, and we can check that if I do my gesture on the form, it's working, of course, and also if I do my gesture on the rectangle, it's also working. So it works as on iOS or on the different platform. So, as I said, there is another possibility with gesture, with single touch gesture, is the possibility to create your own gesture. But this possibility is only available on VCL application. So let's start a new application, a VCL application. So of course, it's only for Windows application. Let's save it. Okay. If I look at my gesture manager, of course, it's also working with actions, so I need an action list. I can double click on my gesture manager, and here I have the possibility to create a new gesture. Okay, I can create a new gesture. I can draw it. Okay, for example, this gesture, it's a range of different points with the coordinate of all the different points. Of course, I can put a name to my gesture. Okay, I can have a sensibility for my gesture. Okay, this is this circle. If my finger stay in the circle and do the gesture, even if the finger move and not stay exactly on the line, as it stay on the circle on each point, the detection will work. Okay, if I do a really small sensibility, okay, a really high sensibility, sorry, I really need to follow the line because the circle is really small. Okay, I can check if my gesture is unidirectional or not. Okay, if I uncheck, I can do my gesture in this way or in this way. If it check, it's only in the way I draw it. Just be careful with the gestures that you draw, because, for example, if I create a gesture like this, okay, I have a message where it says that there is a conflict. And if I click here, I can see, of course, that my gesture is 94% similar to the left gesture and 78% similar to the left right gesture. So you will have difficulty to know if my gesture is be a left right, or my new own gesture. Okay, so just be careful when you create your own gesture. As I said, I put a name for my gesture. Okay. And when I do it, I found it in the list. Okay. And after, if I go on my form, like in FireMonkey, I have a touch property. I link my gesture manager. And here, I found gesture and standard, all the standard gestures that we already see. But I see also a custom, and I can find again my gesture. Okay. So just need to check, link to an action as we do in FireMonkey. You have also the possibility to offer to the user of the application, the possibility to create gesture. Okay, if I look in the components, I have 3 kind of components which help me for this. Okay, So I have a list view, a gesture list view, a gesture recorder, let me change the color here, and a gesture preview. Okay. So in the gesture list view, I have a property which is gesture manager. I link it to my gesture manager. On the gesture recorder, I have a property gesture manager also. I link into my gesture manager. And on the gesture preview, I have a gesture provider property, which is linked to my gesture list view. When I will choose a gesture in my list view, I will see the preview in the gesture preview. Okay. If I launch now my application, I can here draw my gesture, for example, this gesture. I found it in the list view, and if I select it in the list view, I can see the preview of my gesture. But after, of course, I need to detect if in my application I do this gesture. And for this, I can use the onGesture event. On all the components is the same in FireMonkey, but you cannot create your own gesture, of course, in FireMonkey, but we can use this event not only for the new gesture. I have an onGesture event where I have a parameter event info. And if I look at event info, I have a gesture ID, and I have a lot of different information that we will see for the multi-touch gesture. So I can use, of course, this event to detect standard gesture, not only for new gesture. I can use this event to detect standard gesture and do some code if I don't want to use action. Action is more simply because you can link the action also with button or with menu as we use normally action. But you can use the onGesture event that we have on form and all the different kind of components. Okay, so this is the use of the single touch gesture and the difference between VCL and FireMonkey. Now let's take a look at the multi-touch gesture. Okay, so after single touch and single touch gesture, we can speak about multi-touch gesture. Okay, we use a lot of times this kind of gesture on our tablet or phone or all this kind of device. And we are speaking about multi-touch gesture, so 2 points of contact, okay? And we will see how we can manage it in Delphi. So let's go in Delphi and see how it works. Okay, so for multi-touch gesture, let's start with a FireMonkey application. We can use also the VCL application, but of course in VCL application we will only in Windows application. So it works similar for between FireMonkey and VCL application in this case. So I create a new FireMonkey application. Let's save it. Okay. We see for the single touch gesture that we can use a gesture manager, okay. But if we look at the property on my form, for example, I can see on the touch, there is gesture manager and gesture, and here I have interactive gesture. This is for multi-touch gesture, okay, 2 points of contact, 2 fingers, and there is a lot of standard multi-touch gesture. Zoom, pan, rotate, 2 finger tap, press and tap, long tap, and double tap. Okay. What I need to do is only to check the gestures that I want to detect. Okay. For example, the zoom, the pan, and the rotate. And after I will use the onGesture event. Okay. Here. So let's do an example. Here, for example, I can choose an image. Okay. I will choose okay. And you know that in FireMonkey, I can have a parameter which is rotation angle. Okay, so I can use this parameter to rotate my image. So I will decide to use the rotate gesture to rotate my picture. Okay. So on my form, as I said, I will do it on my image, not on my form. That's the same. Just uncheck here. Okay, let's save my project. It's already the case. So on my image, I check the rotate. Okay, so it's, as I said, multi-touch gesture. It's available on all the different platforms, iOS, Android, Windows, and OS X. Just be careful on Windows if you want to manage it. Multi-touch gesture on Windows, you need at least to be at minimum in Windows 7. And of course, you need to have a device which manage multi-touch screen, okay? So rotate. I go on my gesture event. As I said, I have a parameter event info. In this parameter, I have a gesture ID property. So I can detect here that it's a IGI rotate. I will just declare it parameter last angle. Okay. After here, if I look at the event info, I will see that I have a parameter which is flags. Okay. In this parameter, I can know if it's the beginning of my gesture or the end, or if I'm in the current of the gesture. Okay. So if the interactive gesture flag GF begin in event info dot flags, in this case, I'm just at the beginning of my gesture. Okay, so just here, I use the last angle of the image. If it's not the case, and if event info, here I have a lot of different information, and I have also the angle. I can have the inertia, the distance for the different other gesture, inertia, pan, or something like this. And if I different of 0, okay. Just do the conversion to have the angle in degree. And if I choose my iOS application, my iPad, okay, just an error here. What I miss here? Okay. So you can see now the application on my iPad. You can see the picture, and if I do the rotate gesture, I see that I can rotate my picture. Okay, very easily. And of course I can use like this the other multi-touch gesture, like zoom or something like this. That's the same system. So this is the manner to use multi-touch gesture. In other case, the same on Android, iOS, OS X, on Windows. There is just some specific minimum feature for Windows 7, and of course a touchscreen with manage multi-touch. But let's finish now with multi-touch management. Okay, so let's finish with multi-touch management. In this case, we are not speaking about some specific gesture or single touch, but really multi-touch management, a lot of point of contact, a lot of finger on the touchscreen. This feature is a new feature of XE7 version, and let's go on Delphi to see how it works. Okay, so now we finish with the multi-touch management. We are not speaking here about gesture or something like this. We want to have on a multi-touch all the information of the point of contact on my touchscreen. Okay, the number of fingers and each position of my finger. For this, there is a new feature in the XE7 version, which is available on VCL application and FireMonkey application. That's the same system and it works similarly on the both framework. For my example, I choose a FireMonkey application. I save my application. Okay. If I look at the event on the form, I can see a new event, which is untouch. If I look this event, I can see two parameters, touches, which is a T-touches, and action, which is a T-touch action. T-touch action give me information of what happens with my finger. When I press my finger on touchscreen, I have a down first. When I move it and stay on the touchscreen, I have a move. And when I remove it, I have a up. T-touches is an array of T-touch. And each T-touch give me information of the location, the coordinate of the point of contact on the touchscreen. You have to keep in mind that from the untouch event is not working like mouse down, mouse up, and mouse move. Okay? Because you have an array of T-touch. So it means that each time you have a new point of contact on a touchscreen, you have a new untouch event. But on all the events, you will have all the touches on the screen. So let's take an example to explain this. Let me put a memo here on my form. Just change the font of the size of the font to have something visible on the screen. And I select the untouched event on my form. Here I can check, for example, if action equal T-touch action dot down. After, I do a loop to have all the elements of my array. Okay. And for each element, I had a line. Just forget here, as I start to 0. Okay, -1. Okay, down plus the index of the element. Okay. Let me choose my iPad and launch the application. So here is the application on my iPad, and you can see that if I put my first finger, I have an on-touch event with a down 0. And if I put a second finger, I also have another on-touch event, but this time with an array of 2 touch, so the down 0 and the down 1. Okay, so I have 2 times the information of the down 0. So you have to think about it and see how you can manage these kind of things. So let's do something different and have all the information of all the contact. We just change this. I will explain why after. Okay. Okay, I create a label. I need to add here the unit for the label. Change the parent, of course, put it on my form. Change also the style settings because I want to give a big font on my label to have something visible on my screen. So t style setting dot size. So I remove in the style setting the size because I want to have my own size. Put the auto size to 2. Okay, put the text, of course, which with label plus the index of the element. Just add also because if not, the auto size will not work correctly. It's the same for the word wrap. And of course, the position of my label. And in this case, I just have the position with my array of t-touch. Okay. I said with it, I have a location property. Okay. This is okay, but as we said, as each time we have all the touches and so on, I don't want to create a lot of label each time, because the first time I will have the label 0, and the second time I will have the label 0 plus the label 1, so at the end I will have 3 labels. So for this, just to simplify, of course, the more easy is to manage a list of the t-touch and so on, but to go more quickly, I will do a delete children, okay? And of course, I will not create a t-label each time, so I will delete all the t-label, and each time we recreate them at the correct position. And of course, I don't do the creation on the up, because when I have an action of up, I don't need to create a new label, okay? So let's execute this on my iPad. It's not only position, but position.point. It's to simplify to not have position.x and .y and to have two lines. I can do it in one line only. Okay, so here is my application on my iPad, and you can see when I put my different finger that I have all the information of the different point of contact. The label follow my position, the position of the different fingers. If I remove one, I have only two, and I can remove, and it say only one. And like this, I can catch all the point of contact information, the position, what is doing with my finger, if it's up, move, or down. And of course, as it's FireMonkey, it's working on all the different platforms, iOS, Android, but also Windows and OS X. So like this, I can manage multi-touch easily and have all the information of the coordinate of my point of contact and do what I want and all the code that I need. So thank you to follow my session. And now I think it's time for questions. So let's go for the questions.
Do you know if custom gestures will be available in FireMonkey just like they are in VCL at some point?
Actually, it's not. We have only custom gesture in VCL application, and I don't think there is some plan to add some custom gesture in FireMonkey. I think with standard gesture, we have enough gesture to do what we want. So actually, custom gesture are only in VCL.
Yeah, I think that if I remember correctly, the custom gestures takes advantage of a feature on Windows that's specific to Windows, and so it would require reinventing a lot of stuff to add that to FireMonkey across platforms. So, and I agree that I can't think of much custom gestures I'd want to add with all the ones that are available on there, especially with the interactive gestures. Does the possibility to distinguish the pen and the touch on FireMonkey exist?
Unfortunately, when I try with FireMonkey, especially on Windows, it seems there is no detection of the pen. Each time I have only a click with the pen and not the SS Pen. So to be honest, I don't go in the code to see if we can manage this easily. I don't know.
I know that my Samsung Note 3 has a stylus. They call it the SS Pen. I think that's SS Pen. S Pen, that's what it is. And they have a special SDK you can use to distinguish pen clicks versus other touches, or pen touches versus other touches. And so I imagine if you were to use that, download that jar file from Samsung and use that in your application, you might be able to distinguish it between the pen and the finger at least on Samsung devices. So yes. You might look into that.
But I think on mobile, the difficulty is that API will be different between all the different devices. Yes. I don't think there is a specific API. I think it's specific on each stylus, on your Samsung, on maybe a bamboo stylus or something like this. I think each stylus is on API.
Yeah, you're correct. I believe you're correct that it would be a matter of choosing which particular APIs you'd support and only doing those.
Yeah.
So there's a kind of a related question from Dan. He says a lot of iOS applications, when you touch the top of the list, it scrolls to the top of the screen. Is there an easy way to do this in Delphi with the T-list view?
But only when you touch, simply a simple touch. This is not so.
I would think if you had like a label at the top of your list view, on the very top, right above it, and just had, I guess the label doesn't have a touch event, but if you had something there that could receive the touch event,
yeah,
and then just told the list view to scroll to the top when that happened.
Yeah, maybe that's a good solution.
That might do it.
Or maybe just a layout with it test to true. And...
Yep, that might work too. Yeah, I don't think there is not a like a property you could set on the list view to do that automatically, but I think you could do it in just a couple lines of code with an event handler. So, all right, well, great. This was a good session. I learned a lot, and I'm sure there was lots of good information. A lot of people commenting that there were good information here. They were able to learn some things about touch management. It's great to see how that you can do this touch management across multiple platforms and deal with the differences and such. So thank you very much for this session.
Thanks, Jim, and thanks everybody to follow my session.